Yeah, let's redo this Russian doll live, yo. Because YouTube rubbed it off, you bastards. Rubbed off my thing just because I quoted out a coronation a little bit. So I'm not gonna quote out of the book today. Yeah, I'm just gonna read off the page about this Inception Russian doll theory. Yeah, we're replacing this live YouTube. You can't be taking off our lives, man. You understand? For the people's breaking out of formation. Yeah, YouTube is not notifying people about these lives. You might want to check and see if your bell icon's on to make sure that they notify you guys when these lives go up, because they're playing games. They don't want to notify anybody. But yeah, we did a really good live, man. This is just before the Matrix 4 came out. We was already talking about certain concepts that's to do with Facebook and metaverse, and we put out what we call the Russian doll theory. I entitled it Inception. 2 days after, YouTube deleted the video and I didn't save it. So I'm gonna try and redo the video and touch the same points. Just bear with me 1 minute. It's an important topic because I know we've been talking about Anunnakis and God and reptilians and different kind of, out there concepts. But I wanna calm us back down for this one and take us back into the Russian doll theory that I gave out, because it's not just me. There's other scientists and stuff and other people who actually are leaning towards this way. And I thought that when I did put it out, a lot of my circle, they got back to me like, yo, that's exactly what I was thinking and stuff. So with that being said, who he, she, the mother, father, creator, spirit, who nothing exists except by way of the Most High. Anu Elyoin Elyoinel. So yeah, I want to talk about this thing because it links into, I know we've touched on a couple other lives. We've spoken about the holographic simulation, how this reality, even nature, is a holographic simulation. So this kind of links into that. If you bear that in mind, that we're in a holographic simulation, computer generated duality. Do you understand? We'll take it from there and we'll expand that topic. Let me bust a quick prayer. I'll do the affirmation to the all. Barkalum. Anuki fi pa ashuk shilkulum wakul ashuk kalun fini. Anuki farogun shilkulum wakul kalun farogun shilni. Anuki wahed kakulum wakul kalun wahed kani. Nuk aikilu anjihu kama farogun shilkulum wakub kama fariyudun. Nuk aikilu akwenu kuldek nuk akfuzi fi kulum kama tawul kama kafuzi kalun liya amidu fi kulum. Anuki kabaha wahud kulum kalun anuki kulum yakul nuk aikilu kulum dora nuk abmilu. So what I said in English was the affirmation in the name of the all. I am a part of the all and all is a part of me. I am one with the all and all is one with me. I can succeed as a part, I am in the love of the all and all love is in me. I am a part of the all and all is a part of me. I am one with the all and the all is one with me. I can be all that I wish in the all as long as my wish is to stay as a part of the all. I am never alone. All is, all does, I do. All can, I can. All is, I am. Amun. That's what we said for the affirmation, yeah? So yeah, we left off that we're in a, greetings people, we left off that we're in a computer simulated reality. We did touch on one of the other lives that when we're talking about the computer generated reality, we're talking about this nothingness here. You see how we got clear skies? There's no chemtrails today, even though it does look foggy. So this whole nothingness is a computer generated screen of sorts. It's a computer generated reality, right? And we know that there's no such thing as space or nothing, because there's always something inside of it. Even if you can't register it, even if our scientists can't register it, they'll tell us that there's something inside that. There's never nothing. Nothing doesn't exist. Nothing just means we don't understand it or we can't measure anything in there. So we just call it nothingness, no thing, okay? Now, my whole thing is that this same sky or canopy, if you want to use the word canopy, or cosmos, where at night time you'll see the stars cast out on the canopy, this back screen of nothingness, to me, yeah, that is the computer generated reality. Or that is a state created so things can be put inside of it. So the state of nothingness is a state, means a type of condition, yeah? So you can manifest things from this computer screen, from this nothingness, okay? There's 9 dimensions to it. You go from the first density all the way up to the 9th density. And I know we like to speak about dimensions and densities like it's one on top of the other, but it's really not like that. They're all occupying the same space. All 9 dimensions are occupying the same space. Like to say, when you put your radio on and you switch your dial is tuned into one radio station. But all the other radio stations, or you can use a TV for the example, TV stations are still happening. Like if you're tuned into CNN, Fox is still running. You just can't see Fox because you're tuned in, your dial is tuned in to CNN or the 3rd density. Somebody else might be tuned into the 4th density. Somebody else might be tuned into the 5th density. All that is happening here in the same space. Do you understand? But not in the same time, okay? So there's 9 dimensions. And as I said on the last live, Anu Elyoin has blocked off the 9th dimension. So all the 9th dimension is only for beings that have that galactic passport, that have the permission to be able to go up to the 9th layer. All other beings vibrate from the 8th density all the way down to the 1st density. We're on the 3rd density right now, okay? The Mayans and the Olmecs, this same nothingness or this same computer-generated screen, yeah, they refer to it as the Maya, which means the illusion. It's an illusion. Everything we see in this world here looks real. To us, this wall's real, it's solid. Liquid is real, gas is real. So in this world of forms, everything seems real, but the Mayans and the ancients told us, hold on, this is just a fleeting illusion. It's underneath this stuff that's real, where reality is. In this duality, in this computer-generated simulation, okay, it's not real, it's an illusion, it's Maya, it's malleable, and it's interactive. And you can interact with it, okay? So when I say the Russian doll theory, I mean to say, this nothingness or computer-generated screen to me is the consciousness or the soul of a bigger being, a being that's bigger than me and you. I told you the biggest beings in the universe are universes. Universes are beings. They're living, breathing, growing beings. They're born, they grow, they go through stages of growth, and then they die. They go through old age, and then they die. They're beings. Do you understand? And all of us beings, the microcosm in the macrocosm, we're like a smaller version of this bigger being. So it's like to say the Russian doll. If you open up a Russian doll, they've got a smaller version of the doll inside the first doll. And then inside the second doll, there's a third smaller doll inside the second doll. All the way down, you can have various, let's say there's 8 different layers of it. An example is King Tut's sarcophagus. His main sarcophagus had layers and layers and layers of sarcophaguses inside one another. Do you understand that big square thing where Selkek was guarding it, and they opened it and they found the sarcophagus and they opened it up? And there's another smaller one in there and they opened it up. And there's another smaller one of the king in there and they opened it up until they get down to the real coffin where he was buried inside. You understand? That's the same theory that I want you to think about when you're thinking about this universe. This universe, open the universe, there's a smaller universe inside the universe. You open the smaller universe, there's a smaller one inside that. Yeah, until it comes down to the level of human beings or beings, whether it's alien beings, human beings, whatever beings. We're representative of that macrocosm that's in this bigger being at play. So just like inside you have red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, atoms, molecules, blood. All of this stuff is part of your being. In the same way, you could be a red blood cell or a white platelet. Or a white blood cell, or a platelet, or a electron, or an atom inside a bigger being than yourself. We as human beings and beings in general, aliens, alpha draconians, human beings, we're all the different parts of this being. Just like inside you, you've got all the different parts of you inside you. Do you understand? Who's to say if you went down to the microscopic level inside of you that these red blood cells and platelets are not living a life just like us here. Just like how we have roads and stuff, and we was comparing them to the star maps and stuff like that, you can downscale it and say, okay, how we have roads and stuff out here, that's like your veins and arteries inside your body. Shit travels in your veins and arteries. Platelets travel in there. White blood cells travel in there. Red blood cell travels in there. Hemoglobin travels in there. All types of shit be traveling on your highways, which is your veins, your arteries. You see what I'm saying? So when I say the Russian doll theory, I'm talking about bigger beings with smaller beings inside of them all the way down. Because like the ancestors said, as above, so below. And they understood the macrocosm inside of the microcosm, which means they could just study the stars and study the cosmos, and they would be studying their self. They would say, okay, so these satellites, moons and stuff, that's like the electron. That's like the electron that goes around the atom. Because some atoms only have one moon or one electron. Some atoms have 2 or 3 electrons. Some atoms have 4 or 5. And the electron, how much electrons the atom has determines what type of atom it is. Like 1 electron, okay, hydrogen. 2 electrons, okay, helium. Do you see what I'm saying? 6 electrons, okay, carbon. 8 electrons, okay, oxygen. Do you see what I'm saying? The number of electrons determine what type of atom it's going to be, what elemental atom it's going to be, because a hydrogen atom is different than a carbon atom or a helium atom. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's the same when you look out here and you're studying these heavenly bodies. When you say, okay, like I told you, Jupiter's got 60 moons, even though we know some of them are warships. Yeah, Jupiter's got 60 moons. And I was meant to say on that live, that's why scientists tell you Jupiter and Saturn and that have got 60 plus moons. Because like I told you, they build moons, they build worlds, they build baby planets, they build crafts and tow them to different parts of the universe and sell them to other people. But anyway, to stick with this live, so the number of electrons determines what type of atom that atom is going to be. Do you understand? And it's the same out here when you're dealing with planets and satellites going around, suns and satellites and planets going around suns, because that sun is reflective of what's called in your atom the nucleus. That's the powerhouse of the atom. The sun is the powerhouse of the solar system. So you can see the solar system as a giant atom. Do you understand? And you can find equivalents for everything in it. The only difference between the sun and a nucleus is the size. That's it. And ancient teachings tell us that when a sun dies, it becomes an atom. And when an atom dies, it becomes a sun. The only difference is size. In principle, in function, it's exactly the same. It's the powerhouse of the cell or of the solar system. The solar system is a cell. It's a cell inside a larger being, okay? So in Inception, the movie, they showed you the same kind of principle, but they showed you it with worlds within worlds, okay? So you can see it as beings within beings, smaller beings like us inside of bigger beings like the universe, or you could see it as worlds within worlds, like when you have a dream, and in this world, you're having a dream. So in your dream, you're in another world, and this world seems real in your fucking dream, just like Inception. And then they can have a dream inside a dream. You ever had a dream? You ever had a dream, and inside that dream, you're dreaming? I've had that before, where, I was dreaming in my dream. So it's like I've gone 2 layers out of reality. Do you see what I'm saying? But in Inception, they were showing you dreams within dreams within dreams within dreams. So people are waking up and they don't even remember if they're in the real world or if they're in the dream. I think it was his missus got trapped in the dream. She thought the dream was the real world. Like I was talking about the metaverse on that live, saying people are going to think that shit's real. And people are going to have to tell them, yo, you're not in the world, rude boy. You're in the metaverse. Like, people are going to get the shit confused. But in Inception, they were doing the worlds within worlds within worlds, and people were getting confused and stuck in these worlds and stuff. They're really playing with the same concept, because whether you see it as the Russian doll thing with like beings within beings, you can also see it as worlds within worlds. And that's why we're able to make computer games like The Sims. We might think when we turn that game off, that shit stopped. You don't know. That shit could still be going on. We don't know. We don't know how deep consciousness is. Like them characters in that game, The Sims, they might think they're fucking real. Just like how we had to build that digital computer game with algorithms and equations and numbers to set it up like they do when they build your web page or they build or things on the internet, or like I said with computer games, yeah, it's the same shit here. We've got equations and algorithms and stuff underneath this shit here that we can't see that makes this shit work. It's got rules. It's a method to the madness. It's not just a free-for-all. You understand? So in Inception, the movie, which was a fantastic movie, even though I had to watch it like 5 times, man, because I smoke weed. So I'd be watching this movie and I'm just getting lost. Like, I don't even know where I am. So I had to really pay attention and slow it down and put the spliff down just so I could watch this movie, and because it was losing me. Like the first couple times I watched it, I was like, yo, I'm lost on this thing. I ain't even, yo. But if you've not watched that movie, have a watch of it with, I think it's Leonardo DiCaprio or Orlando Bloom or one of them guys that look like that, yeah. Inception, and it was showing you the same theory I'm showing you now with worlds within worlds or beings within beings, yeah. Because like I said, the universe is a being. The universes are the biggest beings in creation. Just like you took 9 months in your mother's womb, the universe in the womb called the nun. That nothingness is called the nun. It's a feminine, it's got feminine properties. It's seen as the womb of the universe. So the universe is born out of a womb. Do you understand what I'm saying? In the same way that happens down here, we're born out of the blackness of the womb. Do you understand what I'm saying, yeah? So I wanted to ask people, what is consciousness, yeah? What is consciousness? To me, consciousness is awareness of self and environment and your source and your limitations. So you know, if you walk in front of a car, you're gonna dead. Do you understand what I'm saying? You can make a decision, oh, I better not step out here, you know, because that car coming at that speed, if I step into the road, me and that car is gonna collide. Awareness, yeah? To me, consciousness is awareness, especially awareness of self, your own self and your own limitations and your environment, the things you'll be able to define. Okay, that's a tree. You understand? These are houses. You can define your environment. We're aware. Do you understand? I say that to say, what's the difference between consciousness and programming? Because computers can be programmed to do all them things I just pointed out to you. You can program computers so you can cross the road safely, or you can know the right decision to make. Some people say, okay, that's programming. And then other people say, yeah, well, it's consciousness. So I'm asking, what's the difference between consciousness and programming? Because a lot of scientists will say consciousness is programmed. Was it programmed into my DNA for me to become Jedefre, for me to write all these books, 6 books, you understand? For me to speak to you guys on camera? Was that my free will choice? You understand? Was it a conscious choice that I made? Okay, this is what I want to do. I'm going to do this. Or was it already pre-programmed into my DNA? When I was born as a baby, did I already have these sets of instructions programmed into my DNA so that I would reach here to this point where I am now? Or was it just a set of coincidences and free choice away from programming? That's something I leave for you guys to have a look at rather than me explain it. If you do have a look at it and you want us to discuss that, then holler at me and we'll discuss that. But I wanted to put that out there for you guys because we all know DNA is programmable. And if you're not programming your DNA, then somebody else is programming your DNA. And like I said, if we was born with these sets of instructions and a certain programmed into our DNA, is it possible for us to reprogram our DNA ourselves? Can we undo that programming or override it with our own set of instructions? Do you understand? These are significant questions that the truth seeker, the light worker should be asking themselves. So DNA is programmable. DNA is programmable, yeah, by way of the RNA. And I'm going to break down RNA for you guys because of the conversations that are coming up now, obviously with the scamdemic and what RNA means when you put the M in front of there and talk about vaccines, mRNA. So we're not talking about vaccines, YouTube. I just made a point. So RNA now, yeah, which is ribonucleic acid. DNA is deoxygen ribonucleic acid. RNA is not deoxygenated. It's just ribonucleic acid. Now the ribonucleic acid or your RNA, that's the part of your DNA that interprets your environment. When I say interprets your environment, That's the thinking part of your DNA that says, okay, we live on a hill. So it's going to make a certain amount of adaptations to your DNA because you live on a hill where the altitude is high and the air is thinner. The RNA programs how you're going to interact with your environment. You understand? Your RNA, I'll give you an example because that wasn't clear enough for you. Let's say I come from a family of chemists, and in my family bloodline, we've had 7 chemists. You understand? Going back generations. Chemistry runs in my bloodline. Yeah? Now, if I'm put in the right situation, if I'm born with with that set of DNA, them genes, and I'm put in the right set of circumstances, I'm more likely to become a chemist, just like the people in my family. Do you understand? In the right environment, my RNA will interact, and I will most likely 90% become like the rest of the people in my family who had these sets of instructions, and I will become a chemist. Now, let's say I'm not in the right environment. Let's say I'm in the hood where there's racism and there's poverty and there's less opportunity, and I ain't got the funds to go on this college education to learn how to be a fucking chemist over here. Do you understand? Now, my RNA might make me the best crack dealer in the hood. I can mix drugs better than anybody else because I'm a fucking chemist. It's only that I'm in the wrong environment, so now my RNA is utilizing this environment. Okay, this is the hood. This is the slums. So now all my chemistry that would have, if I was in college, I'd have became a chemist, like an Einstein. But now I'm not in college, my RNA is using this environment, this slum, this hood, this black on black crime, this drug culture. Now people are saying, yo, go to Jadefre, he cooks the best crack. Because I've got that in my RNA. Do you understand? My RNA, if I was in the right environment, would have made me a chemist. If I'm in the wrong environment, it still make me a chemist. But this chemist is a crack chemist. I will turn that cocaine into crack, mix the right amount of water, put the baking soda or the bicarb or whatever. I don't cook crack, I'm just using that example. Do you understand? And now people will be like, yo, I'm not buying drugs off no one but my man. Because his is the best. When he does it, his crack is better than his crack. You understand what I'm saying? All that shit's to do with RNA. Your RNA interprets your environment for you. So when you hear on the TV them telling you about mRNA vaccines, let me just say, yo, that's a reprogramming. You're not programming, they're reprogramming your shit. Let me leave it there before they cut my video, because that's the reason why they cut it up, because I was going into what these things mean deeper, but I'm going to leave it there. I'm sure you can work it out, the rest out for yourself, yeah? Them shits is on trials till 2023, yeah? And every drug that's been recalled off the shelf had been FDA approved. So people are, oh, it's been approved now, it's still an experiment. And so what if they approved it? All the drugs they approve get taken off like 20 years later and whatever, and leave people with all types of leave people incapacitated and all types of health problems and shit. And then they give you them adverts. Did you have one of these? You may be entitled to compensation. You understand what I'm saying? But I just wanted to give you that piece about the RNA because it ties into the bigger picture, yeah? So yeah, they understood this. They got to the point in their regular science, Newtonian science, Einstein and all of that shit, Alan Turing with the invention of computers, where according to their mathematical model, the computers was telling them that this shit's a simulation. But the computers that they had couldn't deal with the equations. The equations go into a problem what scientists call infinities, meaning the numbers was way too big, even for them computers. So it's just a dead end, because it just comes to, okay, infinity. And for them to work out equations and stuff, they can't have infinities. They need a number, what they can understand the figure of it. If we just say the universe is infinite, then they ain't never gonna be able to crack it. So what they did now in our time is they invented what's called D-wave quantum computers. Quantum computers are dealing with 9 dimensions that I told you about. So that means scientists believe in 9 dimensions for the fact that they've got quantum computers, because quantum computers work accessing all 9 dimensions. So any equation you give them, they've got access to all 9 dimensions. They can give you that answer quickly. It's not going to be an infinity for them. They're going to get an exact figure. That's why you see Muzungu now saying that the universe is not infinite no more. They're saying the universe has a definite size and they can tell you how big it is and where the edge is and all of that shit there based on their mathematical model. Not that they can go out there and point, but they've made a model for it, the size of the universe and all of that shit based on their quantum computers. Now, let me tell you something about their quantum computers further. They make these quantum computers out of DNA because DNA, like I said, is like a terabyte. You know, when we're dealing with computers and we're talking about terabytes, gigabytes, megabytes, gigatons and all of that shit, we're dealing with megabytes. So when you're dealing with when you're dealing with quantum computers, they decided, okay, let's use DNA because DNA can store way more information. One little speck of DNA can store, let's say, like fucking 1 million, 100 million gigatons. Whereas a regular normal chip that we're using in our phones and our technology today is like at the most 100 terabytes or something. It's a no-brainer. They're like, yo, we can use DNA. So this DNA that they're using in quantum computers, they're calling it GNA, yeah, digital DNA. And they've built up what's called D-wave quantum computers. They showed you this shit in Lucy, the movie Lucy. In the end, she turned into a D-wave, one of that black gooey looking quantum computer that's built out of DNA, and she fucking dematerialized. And now she's just consciousness. She don't need the body no more. Do you understand? So they were showing us these D-wave computers in the Lucy movie. Do you understand? And them shits is world building technology. They can build whole worlds, whole matrices with this kind of technology. It's not your regular computer. Do you understand? Because like I said, they can access all 9 dimensions. The type of speed that they're processing with in that, when you're giving them these big mathematical equations and numbers and stuff, that it's on the dot. Bap, they're giving you the answer. These computers, they're now trying to produce them for the commercial population because they've got them for private, you know, for their own use where they don't tell you the shit. So now what they're doing is they're building commercial quantum computers so we can have them in our homes and stuff, and workspaces can have them in offices in society and shit like that. This is the next stage of computing. Do you understand? But they've did that so they can crack infinities, so they can get to look behind this screen, this veil, what they think is an inception, meaning it's a computer simulated holographic reality, and it's got worlds within worlds. There's 9 dimensions of it. So it's got me thinking now, okay, so is it 9 beings? Like the 9th dimension is a being, yeah? And then the 8th dimension is a being. All the way down to here, we're in a being called the 3rd dimension. It's a being, do you understand? And all of us are consciously connected to it, like what we call collective consciousness or universal consciousness. This is one universe. They tell you there's more than one universe. Do you understand? There's universes, so we're in an omniverse. You understand? A society of universes. Do you understand? Yeah. So it's world building technology which goes beyond social engineering. These D-wave computers are made out of real fucking DNA. Yeah? And it's computerized and they call it GNA. And that makes sense that they're using DNA because we already said at the start of this live, DNA is programmable. And if you're not programming it, did it come with a set of instructions like default instructions? Yeah? And then when we come on Earth now, everything we do is a program. So it's like the app shop. Learning how to eat, that's like buying something off the Google store. Yeah? Even learning how to burp, you had to go Google store for that. Your mom had to put you over her shoulder, and you had to learn how to burp. Do you understand? So I'm saying we're dealing with worlds within worlds or beings within beings. Do you understand what I'm saying? Big tech know this, and that's why they're making all this quantum computer crap so they can crack the code with all CERN and all that. Silicon Valley, yeah? Supercomputers are dead. We're talking quantum computers. And it's them same theologians I've been telling you about before on the other lives, if you want to find out what a theologian is. Yeah, with Microsoft, Apple, Facebook, or Metaverse now, Elon Musk and his Neuralink, Starlink and all of that crap there, that's them. They need to crack this shit, yeah? So the Metaverse now is an attempt by them to build another simulation inside this simulation. Since they're believing we're in worlds within worlds, they're now going to attempt to build the ultimate simulation for themselves. So they're not building Sims on computer. They're building it here. They want to live the Sims here. So that metaverse matrix shit is what they're building here to test out this theory, because they can trap you in that realm. Just like you're trapped in this realm, you can't leave the earth. You can't just jump up and fly out, fly through the air and shit. You're rooted here, whether you believe in gravity or not. It's the same way when they make the metaverse, another simulation or another being inside the being that I call the beast, because that's unsanctioned when they're going to make that. So they're making a beast. So to me, that is the beast that was mentioned in Revelation. Even though we know Menelin, or carbon I should say, has six neutrons, 6 protons, 6 electrons, 666 and all that crap. I'm talking about the other side of the fence. The beast that they're building, to me, is all of this AI computer shit, because it's unsanctioned. Do you understand? So the metaverse is a consciousness trap, where they'll trap your attention in that world and you will become a prisoner of that world. We're already a prisoner of the phone. You understand? We're already a prisoner of our phones, yeah? We're prisoners of mobile phones. So imagine now with this metaverse thing on your head, you can just sit at yard. You don't even care if it's lockdown. We're not in this world no more. We've gone into another world. People are going to be living on them shits more than they're living on the phones. You'll have people sleeping in them metaverses and shit like that. You understand? And they need the children. So they've used all this PlayStation, Microsoft shit, yeah, to create a space in our children's head that as soon as this metaverse comes, you won't never be able to keep your children off this metaverse. They're going to jump head first into that shit, because they've been so accustomed to playing these Grand Theft Autos, these Fortnites, this internet craze of, this shit's bigger than the movie industry, put it that way. The game industry shits on the movie. Hollywood ain't making no money when you're comparing that against PlayStation and Microsoft and games and Call of Duty and all of that. They're making the peak. And they've created a space in our children's head because they need the children's energy to make this metaverse work and to make this fake reality work. So they want the children to be tuned into it. And that's why they've been targeting our children with all the kind of magic movies like Harry Potter that I've been telling people about for decades, saying, yo, this shit here is for a reason. Yeah, the phones, the children are having phones, social media, all of that shit. So from the time we've seen with this mobile phone thing, that because most technology that comes out is only for a certain part of the population, like the young people, a certain generation. It's not for old people, and it's not really for young people. That's how it's always been. You have to be in a certain age bracket to be, you know what I mean, the technology to hit you. Because the technology, old people, your mum and dad, they're not going to understand it in that. And then young people, their brain's not developed enough to understand it. So imagine everyone's got mobile phones, and we didn't even pay attention and say, hold on, something's going on here, because even all old people have got mobile phones. Young people, younger and younger and younger, is having mobile phones till no one don't even question it no more if they see a 3-year-old with a mobile phone. Do you understand? We've made it so fucking normal, and we should have seen that this wasn't normal. It's for everyone. It's a trap. Yeah, children are critical thinkers, so they need the children anytime they're going to build new worlds, because we're not critical thinkers. We forget that shit in school. We've already spoken about how all children are born as critical thinkers, and in school it's taken out of them. We've spoken about that in other lives, yeah. Now, worlds within worlds, where they got this concept to do all this shit was the same Matrix, Sophia Stewart. When they came across her book, Third Eye, which had in Terminator and the Matrix in the form of all of the stuff they take to make Terminator and to make Matrix came out of her book Third Eye. And she already had this concept about worlds within worlds and larger beings within smaller beings within larger beings, okay? Social media is suspect because all this shit I'm telling you is not just happened since 2020 or in the last 2-3 years. This shit's been going on for like 50, 60 years. They've been building this shit behind our back in stages, and they've been taking what's called a tiptoe approach. A tiptoe approach means that we ain't even gonna see the moves that are being made. The moves are so minute, or the bits of legislation they bring in, or the new inventions they bring in, that you can't even see what it's adding up to because the steps are too little. Do you see what I'm saying? So the Matrix, yeah, is like, you can say, a 10th dimension. This metaverse, how I said there's 9 dimensions here, they're making a 10th dimension that's unsanctioned. So imagine the type of hell that that's going to turn into. You understand? This is built by, they say, God. This is natural, yeah? And we can already see the amount of madness that goes on here in the natural world. So imagine them trying to be the God of their own world. Yo, that's going to be a chaos going on there. You understand? And how they do this is by, like what I said in my other theory, the theory of the real. They use us to watch movies. All they do is suggest. All they have to do is suggest whatever they want, they put it in a suggestion. The devil has the power of suggestion. That suggestion, we call it a movie. We think it's just for our entertainment. They're suggesting, yo, build this for us. Pay attention to this so much. Think about it when you're sleeping. Talk about it with your friends and stuff. Watch it 3 and 4 times, and you're going to actually manifest this world by encoding it into reality with your perception and your consciousness. Because collectively, imagine the power of that. One of us we can build our own future, each one of us, moment by moment, by living in the eternal now and closing off just the constant thinking, the constant conversation, locking that off. Saying, hold on, I'm in now. Now is the present in the form of gift. The present is a gift. If I work with this now, like now I'm doing this live for you, I could be sitting down, overthinking or something. But because we're human beings. Being is you being in your element and you being in the eternal now, which is the gift. Yeah. Most people never unwrap that gift. They either live in the past, which is already gone, or they live in the future, which ain't even come yet. And that's why they're anxious. Anxiety comes from people who live either in the past or either in the future. They're not present. They're not living in the present. Present people don't fear shit. Present people don't go into panic and anxiety and shit because they bring themselves here now. They're present. Do you understand? So yeah, this world was built by the Anunnaki. Anu built 9 dimensions for 9 different types of consciousness beings. So in order for you to crack this dimension or this being, you have to develop your consciousness to a certain height where this realm can't even hold your vibration no more. You vibrate too high for this realm. Now you must enter into the higher realm. Right here, but a higher realm. And you could still manifest back down here. Like, we're in 3D, we can still do 2D. Like this paper here is 2D. If I pull out one of these pages and it's flat, it's 2D, yeah? We can go down to 2D, 1D, we can't go up to 4, yeah? But we can go down, do you understand? You understand? The higher beings can come down and manifest themselves on these dimensions, you understand? And that shows you that really and truly, yeah, you're just dealing with a computer screen with a set of codes or a set of keys that access open doors, what we call portholes or wormholes or time loops or warped space fabric. Do you understand what I'm saying? All them little things is clues for you to see you're in a simulation. And in this simulation, there's 9 beings. You're in a Russian doll. Do you understand? And the highest one, the 9th being, I don't even think we can comprehend these beings from where we are in this mortal flesh. I believe once we go past the door where the ancestor says, yo, death, the ancestor said death was just a door. Once we go through that door, I think we'll be able to say, okay, yes, now I get it. But I don't think we can get the full thing from this side. We can get enough to navigate ourselves, do you understand, to orientate ourselves and point us in a certain direction for us to know, okay, death is an illusion as well. That's the ultimate illusion of separation. Do you understand what I'm saying? But ultimately speaking, yeah, this world is worlds within worlds. Because if I take a magnifying glass, take up some soil, yeah, it's the soil. But if I take a magnifying glass, there's all types of life in there. There's a whole world inside that soil in my hand. There's bugs in there. There's like things growing in there. There's things dying in there. There's stuff looking for food in there. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on in that little world. If I take a electron microscope, which is one of the most powerful microscopes, and I look at your DNA, yeah, your DNA's got a whole bunch of madness going on in there. Like I said, there's platelets, there's red blood cells, there's white blood cells, there's germs, there's bacteria, there's fungi, there's wars going on between certain blood cells and different blood cells. There's invasions in the form of viruses and flus and stuff coming in your body. So there's a whole world going on inside of you. Just like you have hundreds of trillions of atoms, this Milky Way has hundreds of 30 billion stars. But Andromeda has 2 trillion stars, 3 trillion stars. So really, you're dealing with the same beings. It's a Russian doll thing. It's a world within a world. And most people can't see it, yeah? I just wanted to put that back on there, so when you go back to watch The Theory of Everything, and what's the other one that spoke about the metaverse, it should make a bit more sense for you. I'm not going to dwell, because I thought this battery was really going to be charged, but it's already flashed up, and I don't want to lose this thing here. Do you understand? So what I'll do, I'm halfway through. I'm going to cut it here, and then because it's making me not concentrate, because I'm too conscious of the battery just dying. So I'm going to cut it here, people, and then I'll hit you with part 2. If not today or tomorrow, the next day, okay? So I'm going to cut it here, just so we don't lose this, because this is a madness. We got 40 minutes. Shout out to everyone who joined the chat. I'll have a look when I've loaded it up and charged the phone and answer any questions, yeah? Salute. Namastu.